The cold was so deep, it hurt to breathe. Ice covered everything. Even the metal landing ramps groaned as they dropped. No one spoke. No one welcomed them. The transport ship dumped the last group of humans onto the frozen surface and took off. Without a word, just cold wind and silence. Captain Rena Cole stepped off last, her boots sinking into the frost. The sky above was dark gray, the light from the distant twin suns barely reaching them. A white storm rolled in from the horizon. Everyone, stay close! Get the shelters unpacked! Rena's voice cut through the frozen air. No one moved at first. They were too stunned around her. Families clung to each other. Children cried. A woman fell to her knees, sobbing. They had all been taken from their homes, their jobs, their lives. Now, they stood on a dead moon with no cities, no help, and no way back. The Galactic Concord had called it a relocation. Rena called it what it was, an execution. A few small prefabricated shelters had been dropped with them. Not enough. Maybe 5 structures for 50,000 people. The rest would freeze or sleep in the open transport containers they had arrived in. Rena moved fast, assigning people in groups. Soldiers, engineers, medics, parents with young kids. All were sent to the warmest places first. A young man approached her. "Captain Cole, we're trying to get the generators working, but the fuel cells are half charged. We won't make it through the night. Make them work anyway," she said, jaw tight. "Strip the landing crates. Use every wire, every bolt." She glanced toward the horizon. The storm was coming faster now. The wind carried bits of frozen dust that shimmered like glass in the pale light, in the chaos. A small science team set up camp near a ridge where ice readings showed unusual thermal activity. One of them, Dr. Malik, had a theory. "Captain, there's something strange under the surface. Heat, but not geothermal. It's too even, like ... structured." Rena stared at him. "Are you saying someone built something down there?" "We don't know yet. But the readings, they're not natural." She didn't answer right away. Her eyes drifted to the sky, to the blackness above. This moon was supposed to be lifeless. No history, no resources, just ice and death. But maybe that wasn't true. That night the cold came in hard. Tents collapsed under the wind. One shelter lost power. People huddled in crates, wrapped in whatever fabric they had. Frostbite took fingers. 3 children didn't survive. Rena didn't sleep. She walked between the shelters all night, checking. People handing out emergency rations, pulling frozen tarps tighter over crates. By dawn, they had lost 12 people. And the storm hadn't even fully hit yet. Inside one of the converted containers, Dr. Malik and his team continued their work. They'd managed to drill down a few meters into the ice. 23 meters deep, the drill started to shake. Then it stopped. "Something's down there," Malik whispered. A camera probe was lowered. The screen showed a smooth surface. Not ice, not rock. It shimmered faintly. Metal. A structure buried in the ice. Then something moved across the camera feed. "What was that?" Technician gasped. Playback zoom. The footage replayed. A blurry shape passed through the frame. Long, thin, glowing faintly blue. Rena arrived just in time to see it. "That's not ice." "No," she said flatly. "No," Malik agreed. "And it's not human either. They sent down a small drone. Descended through the ice shaft, lights flickering. For a moment, it showed a wide chamber made of black metal. Strange lines glowed along the walls, symbols no one recognized. Then the signal cut. Rena stepped back from the monitor. "Did it crash?" "No," Malik said slowly. "Something shut it off." Outside, the wind began to howl again. Rena looked through the ice-frosted window. The people were still trying to dig out from last night. A group was using salvaged solar panels to power a small cooking unit. 2 men argued over oxygen filters. She clenched her fists. "We were supposed to die here. That's what they wanted." "But we won't," Malik said, voice low. "Not if that thing under the ice can help us." Just then, a scream echoed from outside. A young woman stumbled into the shelter, face pale, gasping for breath. One of the scientists, he went, Back to the shaft, ... and he's gone. His tether was cut. What do you mean cut? Rena asked sharply. The woman shook. It wasn't snapped by ice. It was clean, like a blade. They rushed to the drill site. The ice shaft was open. No signs of the man, just his tether, severed neatly, and down below. In the darkness, a faint blue light began to glow. The blue light under the ice pulsed like a heartbeat. Soft, slow, steady. No one spoke. Cold wind blew across the drill site, carrying tiny flakes of frost that stuck to their clothes and faces. Rena stared down into the shaft, her jaw tight. He was just there. The woman whispered again. Tied himself in, checked his tools, and lowered the scanner. 10 minutes later, the line jerked, then went slack. Anything on the monitor? Rena asked. No, Dr. Malik replied. Signal's dead, same as the drone. Rena turned to the team. Seal the shaft. Now, I don't want anyone else going down there until we know what we're dealing with. A few of the workers hesitated, looking at each other. Then they moved, dragging a thick tarp over the hole and weighing it down with crates of ice samples. The light kept glowing faintly through the tarp, still pulsing. That night, no one slept well. Some claimed they saw shadows outside the camp. One child said she heard whispers in the wind. Others dismissed it as stress, fear, cold playing tricks on the mind. But the missing scientist wasn't found. Rena held a small meeting inside the main shelter. Dr. Malik, 2 engineers, and an ex-navigator named Lyra joined her. The heating system whined in the background. There's something under us, Rena said. And I don't think it's just old tech. Malik nodded slowly. The materials we saw in the video aren't from any known race. The writing glows when touched. Some of it reacted to the drone's sensors. That means it's still alive. Or at least, not dead. Lyra pulled up a scan on her wrist display. Here we found another heat source 20 meters east of the shaft. Same pattern, same pulsing signal. It's not just one structure. Rena said, voice low. It's a network. They sat in silence for a long moment. The next morning, while most people focused on survival, building new shelters, fixing broken recyclers, melting ice for water, led a small team to the second heat signature. They dug carefully, this time watching every move. After 2 hours, they hit metal again, smooth, black, cold, even under meters of ice. Same material, Malik confirmed, and it's humming. Rena touched it through her glove. It vibrated gently. Feels like a machine that's sleeping, she said. They began mapping the layout. Each site connected by faint heat lines beneath the ice, like tunnels or veins. Whatever it is, Malik said, it wasn't built by humans, but it was placed here for a reason. Later that day, a group of civilians broke into one of the emergency food containers. Rena arrived to see them arguing, hands full of ration packs. Tensions were boiling. People were cold, hungry, scared. We don't even know if we'll be alive next week, one man shouted. Why ration anything? Because if we act like animals, Rena snapped, we'll die like animals. The group quieted. No, you're angry, she said, softer now. I am too. They sent us here to freeze, to disappear. But if we stay together, if we think, if we work, we can do something they never expected. Someone in the crowd muttered, like what? Build a snow castle. Rena looked up at the gray sky. No, she said. Turn this frozen rock into something that shines. That night they unsealed the shaft, again carefully. Slowly, Malik had rebuilt a new drone using scrap from the old one. This one had shielding, better cameras, and a heat probe. Let's see what's really down there, said. The drone dropped through the ice tunnel, descending meter by meter. The feed flickered, then came back. A huge underground chamber came into view. Its walls were smooth and dark, with glowing symbols like lines of fire. Strange crystal tubes ran along the ceiling, filled with liquid light, and in the center, a massive sphere, floating, spinning slowly in the air. Rena leaned in. Is it a reactor? Possibly, Malik whispered. But this isn't power. Like we know it. This looks biological, alive. The camera panned around. On the far wall, above a sealed doorway, was a symbol none of them recognized. Malik frowned. That looks like Earth's star map. What? Rena moved closer. Here, he said, zooming in. That cluster, those points, it's Sol. That's our sun. That's Earth. Rena stared at it, her heart pounding. Why would aliens on a dead moon have Earth's location carved into their wall? The screen flickered again. The camera jerked, and then they saw it, just for a second. A tall shape moving in the shadows. Humanoid, but wrong. Thin. It's too long, glowing blue at the joints. The camera cut out. The drone never came back. Rena, slowly, stood straight. The room was silent. We're not alone here, she said. And whatever's beneath us, it already knows we're here. Asterisk. The silence in the shelter felt heavy after the screen went black. No one moved. No one spoke. Dr. Malik slowly lowered the tablet with the dead drone feed. The glowing figure, whatever it was burned into their minds. Rena stood, her voice firm but quiet. No more sending machines down. If something's alive under there, we need to be careful. Careful? One of the engineers asked, pale-faced. You saw that thing? That was not a glitch. That was something watching. I know, Rena said. But we need answers. Later that day, the cold thickened again. Temperatures dropped to a level that made even the shelters crack. More. Heaters failed. Water processors jammed with slush. People huddled together in crates and cargo bins wrapped in blankets, trying not to freeze. Rena moved through the camp with her mask on, checking on families. She saw a mother wrapping her scarf around her child's face, crying quietly. A group of miners burned broken plastic crates for warmth. The air stank. We won't survive another storm, one medic told her. We lost 3 elderly people. Last night, one man just didn't wake up. And yet the alien heat signature below them kept pulsing. Stronger now. Almost like it knew they were struggling above, or waiting. Rena gathered her core team Melik Lyra and 2 miners to plan their next move. They met inside the supply dome, near the only working heater. We need power, water, shelter, Rena said. That alien structure is our only chance. I agree, Malik said. I've been studying the wall symbols from the recording. Some of them match patterns we've seen on old deep space ruins, possibly first flame tech. The first flame? One miner asked. A vanished race. Nobody knows what happened to them, Malik explained. But their tech, if this really is theirs, is built to last forever. Energy harvesting, self-repairing, even adapting to hostile environments. Rena raised an eyebrow. Like this moon? Malik nodded. Exactly. They decided to explore the chamber in person. Carefully, a 5-person team, no weapons, just scanners, masks, and emergency lights. They waited for the storm to ease before, lowering themselves into the shaft. The wind howled around them as they climbed down the ice tunnel, boots scraping the sides, breath fogging up their visors. At the bottom, the world changed. The chamber was warmer, barely but enough that frost didn't form. The floor was black and smooth, and it hummed softly beneath their boots. Lines of glowing blue ran along the walls. The floating sphere in the center turned slowly, like a planet in space. Rena walked. Slowly, eyes scanning every surface. There were more symbols now, pulsing gently. Some near the ceiling, others low to the ground. None of it made sense. It felt old, very old and intelligent. Malik stepped closer to the wall. I think these are instructions or warnings. Some of the symbols repeat. Then one of the miners called out, "Hey! Over here, there's another tunnel." It was narrow and curved sharply downward, just tall enough to crouch through. Faint light came from the walls, but the air inside smelled strange, like burned metal and damp stone. I'll go first, Rena said. They moved slowly. The tunnel growing tighter and warmer the deeper they went. The hum was louder now, vibrating through their bones. After 10 minutes, the tunnel opened into a smaller chamber, and in the middle of it stood a tall, broken column. On top of the column, a glowing crystal. It pulsed in rhythm with the chambers. Light, Malik gasped. That's a control core. It might power the whole structure. Rena stepped forward. The moment she touched the crystal, everything changed. The lights flared. The floor shook. Then she saw something, not with her eyes, but in her mind. A vision. Bright skies. Giant towers of metal and glass. Beings made of light walking through. Golden cities. A sun, huge and close, burning orange fire. Then darkness, explosions, screaming, a world ripped apart. The first flame falling. Gone. Rena jerked back, gasping. What happened? Lyra asked. I saw memories, like. The crystal showed me their end. Malik's voice was quiet. They were trying to escape something. They returned to the main chamber. The floating sphere now spun faster. And in the center of the wall, a new pattern had appeared. A map, star systems, dozens. One marked with a red circle. Rena pointed. That's this moon. Malik looked closely. And that line from it leads to that star. See, that's Earth. Rena stared at the glowing map. This place wasn't just some alien ruin, she whispered. It was watching Earth, long before we ever came here. Lyra turned, flashlight sweeping the far wall. Why would it track Earth? Then her beam landed on something, a mural carved into black stone. It showed a being standing alone in a storm. The shape looked human. Just then, the ground trembled again, and from the shaft above a scream, followed by silence. Rena's radio hissed to life. Captain, you need to get back now. Something's happening up here. Rena climbed out of the shaft first. Snow whipped around her helmet. The storm hadn't returned, but the air felt wrong. It's too still, too heavy. Something was coming. A young soldier ran toward her. Ma'am, something's wrong with the energy. Lines. The blue gloat spreading. What do you mean? She asked, heart pounding. He pointed toward the camp. She turned and froze. Across the ice, blue lines now glowed under the snow like veins. They stretched from the alien shaft, across the ground, and toward the camp. Some had already reached the edges of the shelters. The ground beneath them pulsed softly. People had gathered watching. No one moved. No one spoke. Dr. Malik and Lyra climbed up behind Rena, both staring wide. This isn't random, Malik said. It's connecting to us. Rena walked toward the lines. The snow around them had melted, even in the freezing cold. She knelt and touched the ice near the glow. Warm. This thing. It's waking up, she said, and we may be the reason. Later, inside the shelter dome, the leadership team gathered. Heated floor panel glowed beneath their feet. One of the few comforts they had left. We touched the crystal, saw its memory, and now it's reaching out. Malik explained, but not in a hostile way. It's like it sensed us and is expanding. Maybe it thinks we're part of it now, Lyra added. Rena leaned back against a metal crate. I don't think it's dangerous, at least not yet. But if this thing has power, the kind that kept it alive underground for who knows how long, then maybe we can tap into it. The others exchanged looks. You want to use it? One of the engineers asked. It could be dangerous. Everything here is dangerous, Rena said. The cold, the radiation, the air, we're already dying slow. I'd rather try something that gives us a chance. They began setting up monitoring stations around the blue lines. Engineers traced their flow back toward the main sphere underground. The glowing grew stronger at night. The heat spread wider. Water started forming naturally around the lines, clean, not toxic like before. Malik ran dozens of tests. These energy lines are fixing the ice, purifying it, somehow removing the acid. Hope began to stir in the camp. For the first time, water was available without needing heavy filters. Sick children were recovering faster. Small crops in test. Boxes didn't die instantly. We may have found our power source, Malik said during the evening meeting. But not everyone was happy. A group of colonists, led by an ex-councilman named Darren Voss, demanded the energy tech be used only for their zone. "We were elected leaders back home," he said. "We know how to manage resources. This power should be under proper control." Rena stepped forward, voice cold. "There's no government out here, no special seats. We lead together." Or, not at all. Voss didn't reply, but he didn't leave either that night. One of the sensor outposts went dark. A young technician was found unconscious near one of the glowing lines. His gear had been smashed, his wrist display broken. He woke up, his eyes were wide with fear. "I saw someone, or something, watching me, tall, thin, glowing joints, like the thing in the drone video." Rena listened carefully. "Was it real?" she asked. "I think so," he whispered, but it didn't attack. It just watched. Then it disappeared into the snow. Was troubled. "Something lives in that system, some kind of guardian? Then it knows we're here. Maybe it's testing us." The energy continued spreading. Soon, the ground beneath the main shelters glowed. People no longer needed heaters at night. The cold pulled back slightly. "Not gonna butt held at bay." "We're warming the moon, Lyra," I said quietly one morning. "We're actually changing it." But trouble came faster than they expected. One night, alarms blared from the west side of the camp. Rena grabbed her coat and ran with a small team. They reached the research dome to find the outer wall shattered. Tools scattered. A large hole torn through the ice nearby. No one saw who did it, the guard said. But footsteps. Just the hole. In one word written in frost on the wall, Rena stepped inside. Her breath caught. The word was simple. Leave. Dr. Malik arrived minutes later. He stared at the message, then back toward the glowing lines outside. "Whatever's under there, ... It's waking up faster now, and it may not want us here." They reinforced the dome, doubled patrols, and tried to stay calm. But whispers began to spread through the camp. People spoke of shadows in the snow, of glowing eyes watching from a distance. Children said they heard voices in their dreams. Still, Rena pushed forward. "We're not stopping. Not now," she told the others. "If this moon has a mind, it better get used to us." But as she spoke, her radio crackled again. It was the outpost team from the far ridge. "Captain, we found another chamber. Not like the first. Bigger, older, and there's something inside it." Rena's voice tightened. "What is it?" A pause, then. "I don't know, but it's not sleeping." The wind howled louder as Rena and her team reached the far ridge. Sky was dark again, clouds curling like smoke above the frozen hills. Snow swirled around them, but the faint blue light still glowed under the surface. Guiding their steps, the outpost crew waited at the edge of a deep crater. One of them, a woman named Elvie, waved them down. "We didn't dig this," she said. "It was already open when we arrived." Rena looked into the hole. It wasn't natural. The walls were smooth, carved in a perfect spiral, going down deeper. Then she could see there were no tools nearby, no blast marks, just cold, clean precision. "How deep?" she asked. Elvie replied, "At least 60 meters, maybe more." Lyra pointed at the walls. Symbols glowed along the spiral path, different from the ones in the first chamber. These were sharper, almost like warnings. Some pulsed red. "This place doesn't feel the same," Malik whispered. "It feels older and heavier." They climbed down slowly using harnesses and ropes. The deeper they went, the warmer it became. Their breath stopped fogging. Ice disappeared from the walls. At the bottom, spiral opened into a vast chamber. It was different, not smooth or quiet like the first one. This one was jagged, rough, almost broken. The walls looked damaged, like something had forced its way in or out. Pieces of black metal lay scattered. At the far end of the room stood a large stone archway, sealed with a glowing red panel. "Looks like a door," Lyra said, stepping closer. "No," Malik said, quickly pulling her back. "It's a lock." They approached slowly. Strange carvings circled the panel, deep grooves cut into the stone. The ground near it felt strange under their boots, soft and spongy, like something organic had spread across it. Rena stared at the sealed arch. Something's inside. They set up lights and scanners, trying to read the markings. The red glow pulsed faster the closer they got. One of the engineers tried to scan it with a portable reader. The reader sparked, then died. Whatever rose from its side. Whatever it is, Malik said, it doesn't want to be opened. Rena stepped back and looked at the room again. Deep. Claw marks lined the walls, reaching high above their heads. They weren't made by any tool she recognized. "Captain," one of the guards called out, voice tight. "We've got movement, above us." Rena looked up. The ceiling of the chamber thick. With shadows shifted, something moved, something large. Then it was gone. She raised her flashlight. Nothing, just the empty ceiling. They left quickly, not speaking until they reached the surface again. The wind had stopped. The sky was too quiet. Even the snow had settled. Back. At the main camp, Rena gathered the leadership team. "We found a second structure. A chamber with a sealed gate. Something's inside it. Something dangerous." Malik nodded. "It's not like the first chamber. This one's older, damaged. I don't think it was meant to be found. Need to leave it alone," Lyra added. "The more we disturb this planet, the more ... it notices." Darren Voss was there too. He crossed his arms and frowned. "Or maybe we finally found a real weapon. Something that could scare the Concord." Rena gave him a hard look. "We're not opening ancient alien doors to make weapons, but you'd use their power to grow food, make heat, and power our shelters," he snapped. "You're already using it. Why stop now?" "Because we don't understand it," she said. "And something down there might want to stay buried." That night, Rena walked the outer edge of the camp alone. The blue lines beneath the snow still pulsed gently. She passed children sleeping. In the newly warmed shelters, they looked peaceful, safe. For now, then her radio hissed. "Captain Cole, this is Sector 9. We've got lights near the crater movement." When she arrived, 4 guards stood pointing toward the dark horizon. In the distance, near the edge of the crater, something was glowing. Tall figures walking slowly across the snow. Not human, not fast, but steady. There were 6 of them, each one thin, long-limbed, and glowing softly at the joints. "They're coming closer," a guard whispered. Rena didn't answer. She stared as the figures stopped near the edge of the crater. One of them raised a hand. The snow beneath its feet melted instantly, and then it spoke. Not with a voice, but inside her head. "You are not the first. You are not the last." "You were early," Rena's breath caught in her throat, it being tilted its head. Then the others turned and walked away, vanishing into the dark. Lyra appeared at her side, eyes wide. "What did it say?" Rena shook her head slowly. "They know we're here." She looked back toward the glowing chamber far below, and whatever's down there, they're guarding it. The next morning, the camp was tense. Word had spread. People whispered about the glowing figures. Some called them ghosts, others called them watchers. But no one knew what they truly were, what they wanted. Rena stood in the command shelter, staring at the satellite feed. The 6 glowing shapes had left no footprints, no heat trail, just melted snow and silence. Dr. Malik paced behind her. "They didn't attack us. They didn't destroy anything. But they sent a message." Rena didn't look away. "They told us we're early." "Early for what?" Lyra entered, holding a tablet. "We ran a deep scan of the chamber wall. That red panel, it's decaying. Slowly, whatever's inside it. The seal is failing." Rena turned to her. "How long do we have?" Lyra hesitated. "Maybe days, a week at most." Outside, the blue light continued to spread. It now reached halfway across the camp, warming the ice, making clean water easier to collect. Crops were surviving in test domes. The glowing energy had become part of their lives. But now they knew the truth. Something old was waking, and it might not care who lived on the surface. At the evening meeting, Rena explained everything. "There's something sealed beneath this. Moon, something the Watchers are guarding. The first flame built the vault to hold it, and now the seal is breaking. The room fell quiet. Darren Voss stood up. Then we open it first. Take what's inside before it wakes up. Use it before it uses us. Malik shook his head. You didn't see what we saw? The symbols on the arch weren't warnings. They were begging someone not to open it. Rena spoke clearly, and we're not touching that door. But not everyone agreed. That night, while most of the camp slept, a small group of Voss's followers snuck away. They took gear, scanners, and explosives. By morning, the camp's western outpost was empty. They're heading to the vault, one of the scouts said. They planned to break it open. Rena didn't wait. She led a team after them, snow boots. Crunching over the blue-lit ground, the wind was picking up again. Storm was coming. They reached the spiral tunnel hours later. Inside, it was too quiet. Rena led the descent. At the bottom, the vault door glowed brighter than before, red lines flickering fast. The group found signs of tampering, tools on the ground, cracked scanner, a dent in the panel where someone had struck it. No one was there. They've already gone inside, Malik said, voice tight. Rena touched her radio. Darren Voss respond. Do not open that chamber. No reply. She looked at the red door. Then it happened, with a low groan. Yart shuddered. The panel blinked once, twice, then turned green. The vault opened. The air rushed out. Warm, thick, strange. Lights inside the chamber flickered on, revealing massive walls covered in metal vines and pulsing energy. The room looked alive, and in the center, a pod or a prison made of black crystal, floating above a glowing pit. Inside it, something moved. Lyra whispered, "That's not a machine." The group stepped closer. The shape inside the crystal shifted. Humanoid. But its face was wrong. Too sharp. Too many eyes. Its arms were too long. Its chest rose slowly, like it was breathing. Then its eyes opened, glowing white. Rena raised her hand. Back away now. But it was too late. The chamber shook. A sound filled the air deep, vibrating like metal screaming. The pod cracked. A line ran down the center of the crystal, glowing brighter and brighter. A scream echoed inside their minds, not words. Just pain. Malik dropped to his knees. Lyra fell back, clutching her ears. The Watchers appeared. All six, stepping out from the tunnel walls like ghosts. They didn't speak. They just stared at the pod. Then one of them raised a long, glowing hand and pointed at Rena. Close it, a voice said in her head. Or everything ends. Rena forced herself to stand. How? The Watcher pointed to the arch. Symbols glowed. A code. Malik dragged himself toward it. His hands shook as he pressed the pattern. The pod flared white. And the scream stopped. Silence fell. Then the pod's cracks closed. The glow faded. The Watchers turned. And one by one, they vanished. Rena dropped to her knees, breathing hard. The vault door slid shut behind them. Lyra sat up slowly. That thing, it wasn't just a creature. It felt ancient. Wrong. Malik looked pale. It wasn't made to live. It was made to destroy. That's why they sealed it. Rena stared at the ground. We almost let it out. She stood. From now on, no one goes near that vault, ever. They returned to camp, shaken but alive. The energy lines were still glowing. The moon still warmed. But now the humans knew what slept beneath and what waited. If they failed. Weeks passed. The vault remained closed. No one went near it. The Watchers were gonna, at least for now. And the energy that flowed beneath the moon continued to grow. The blue light warmed the soil. The water turned clean. And for the first time, since exile, food grew without dying. Shelters no longer froze at night. Children played in heated domes with fake grass and filtered air. The fear of the cold, of the silence was fading. But the memory of what they saw in the vault stayed. Rena still saw the creature in her dreams, those glowing white eyes. That scream, it reminded her how close they had come to the end. Malik led a new project. With help from engineers and young minds, they built a control station using alien crystal and human systems. Let them manage the energy flow, redirect. Heat in grow farming areas. The system worked. People stopped dying from cold. The sick recovered. Even the sky looked brighter. Lyra worked with the children. She taught them how the planet worked now. They learned how to grow food, repair systems, and read the strange symbols carved in glowing stone. They need to know everything, she told Rena. This is their world now. Darren Voss never returned. His small group had vanished after breaking into the vault. Some believed the Watchers took them. Others thought they had fled into the frozen wilds. Either way, they were gone, and no one dared follow. After 2 months, the first surface dome was built outside the main camp. It was warm inside. It's powered entirely by the alien network. A small garden grew under artificial lights. Tomatoes, carrots, even potatoes. Real food, grown on an alien moon. Joe, one of the old farmers, smiled as he picked a bright red tomato. Never thought I'd see this again, he said, holding it up to the sun. Earth never followed us, but we brought Earth here. Children cheered. They called it the Garden Dome. More domes followed. Workshops, homes, schools. The frozen camp was slowly becoming a city. They called it Hearth, because in the middle of the frozen dark, they had found fire. Rena stood on a metal tower overlooking the valley. The glowing lines under the snow reached far in every direction now, like rivers of light. Where they touched, life followed. Malik joined her, holding a new report. We're picking up signals. Weak ones. From space. Rena turned to him. Other colonies? Maybe, he said. Or traders? Or the Concord. Rena nodded. They'll come eventually. They'll see what we've done, what we've become. When the first starship arrived, it came slowly, one ship, unarmed, blinking its lights in peace. A small group of humans stepped out, traders, explorers. They stared in awe at the blue-lit valley below. You were sent here to die, one of them said. Rena nodded. We were. But you made a home. She smiled. We made more than that. The traders offered supplies, news, and information. In return, they asked for something strange, help. The Concord was weakening. Their planets were falling into chaos. Their systems failing. They had no technology like the alien network. No clean energy. No stable food. But the exiled humans did. We can help them, Malik said during the council meeting, but on our terms. Not as servants, Lyra added. As equals, Rena agreed. We didn't just survive. We changed. We adapted. We made a frozen moon breathe again. Now the galaxy comes back, asking us to fix what they broke. The people voted, and so the first human-built transport ships left Hearth, powered by alien energy and human will. They carried engineers, doctors, and teachers, but they also carried a message. Humanity was not gone. It had been reborn. One night, Rena walked alone beyond the domes. The air was still cold, but she didn't feel it as much anymore. The stars above were sharp and clear. She stopped near the crater where it all began. The vault still sat deep below. Sealed. Quiet. She didn't speak. She only placed a small marker in the snow. It read, We came here in chains. We leave as fire. The Watchers never returned. But maybe. They didn't need to, because the humans had become the Watchers now. Not of death, but of life. Asterisk.